Welcome back, everyone. It's the Next E King here, and well, holy crap, I made it actually 30 days into production. What? And I took the whole time too. I mean, like, I made this video last second, but yeah, I apologize, for the editing and stuff. It's boring. It's I'm not gonna do anything fancy. This is who I am. I'm just like a clean, a clean guy. Just play the game and talk behind it. That's my style. So I apologize if it's a little boring, but I wanted to give you a little background. Because I know in my last video I said a few games that I played, like Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior and stuff, Punch Out. But there are some games that just stick with you more than others. And so I'm like, you know what? The best way to know somebody is to see what kind of games they played. And I was big on RPGs. I played like Dragon Slayer and World of Warcraft. Loved World of Warcraft. There's some games that hit different, right? Crystallis, it's like a Zelda RPG. Yeah, I also played like, Dragon Warrior and stuff, but like Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, which is like 6, but on the Super Nintendo it was 3. I had an argument a lot when I was growing up. Anyway, Chrono Trigger, and then I had a 64. I would play like Hybrid Heaven and Quest 64, Ogre Battle 64, Paper Mario, and then when you get your PlayStation, you're like, all right, Legends of Legaia or Parasite Eve. I hated Part 2, but Saga Frontier 2 I loved. I had like Jade Cocoon, Monster Ranchers, games like that. I used to love sticking my disc in. I'm just trying to think of game. Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 7, 8, Tactics, Lunar, Xenogears. Some games just hit different, you know what I'm saying? And when you got your Game Boy, imagine your Game Boy and you're playing Pokemon, right? And Harvest Moon, and there was a game called Dragon Warrior Monsters. That's another game I used to love to play. I got my PS2. I would play games like Guitar Man and Kingdom Hearts and Victorious Boxers and Grand Theft Auto and Metal Gear and stuff like that. But then like Dark Cloud and Shadow of Colossus. When you got your Xbox, you're like, oh my god, Knights of the Old Republic and Fable and Morrowind and playing the newer games. Don't get me wrong, I've played Skyrim, but somebody says, oh, Skyrim to Morrowind, and I understand if they go like, oh, I don't like Daggerfall or something. I totally understand that, but if you say that Skyrim's better than Morrowind, to me, you can't compare those games. I've never played Fallout 4, but I played New Vegas. If you're saying it's better than that, it's hard to believe, right? Oh, I played Dark Souls 3. I never played Dark Souls 3, but I played the original Dark Souls. And I remember how some games just change the way you look at games. You're just like, man, you start changing, caring more about experience and how you felt. And that's what I wanted to do with my game. I want you to feel something, right? I do want you to have a story, but I want the lore to be there. I want the world to be separate than what you're trying to accomplish. I don't see why they have to be the same thing. I feel like, I don't want to be the Dragonborn. I don't want to be the hero of the overall story. I just want you to be a guy in the world. So that's where I'm coming from on this game. You start the game up, you name yourself. After you name your you have a baby and you name your daughter, and you name, your wife makes a joke or something like, oh, don't worry, I'll name the next one. And then all of a sudden you get woken up. That normal thing when you get waking up, you're a nobody and you have nothing and you get woken up, and your daughter that you just named wakes you up and she's older. So that time has jumped. You're walking away, and before you go into the forest, because she's like, hey, your stomach's making too much noise, it's keeping everybody up, go get something to eat. You're keeping me up, and you have a little son, you have a son, you check on him, his name is Junior or something, you're about to go into the forest when you see your wife, and your wife says, oh, is your stomach keeping everybody up? She says, well, go into the forest, be careful, use your muscles, obviously, because you have muscles, right? And you go into the forest. You clear the forest and you're doing this tutorial, learning how to play. At the end of the tutorial, you end up at a tree and you realize it has her name on it. You find out she don't have a body, right? That you're in a graveyard. All these trees are it's a graveyard. Her body's been buried there. You're not crazy or anything, but you're in a dystopian future. You find out that she's in VR, right? She's in some kind of virtual reality. You can see her, your kids can see her, but she doesn't have a body. But it leads to questions like, if she can get a body, then why haven't you gone out and gotten a body? But something led to them, hiding in a forest. They've been living off the land, right? They've been living out this lifestyle. And why hasn't he gone out and tried to get her body? He just hasn't. And you spend some time with your kids and you find out that your son is not really named. You just call him Junior because, you're waiting for your wife to name him. And you think like, oh, okay, whenever we get her body back, she's going to name him. But you haven't done it yet. And, your daughter's probably like 15 or 16, but your son's like 7 or 8. She's been without a body for maybe 7 years. And you don't know, but you learn, right? You learn with time. I was thinking maybe the kids go into the forest, there's probably safe areas. You go into the forest, you hear yelling, your son's been petrified. You kill whatever petrified him, but he's been petrified and you have to find a cure. And there you go. You go out in the world and you have your own problems. You have a background. You have all this information from the past, but then going forward, you're trying to find this cure, but there's nothing else. I hate whenever a game starts you off with a quest and you like go market. I'm just like I'm not even making my own destiny. I remember playing some games where you just get thrown in the world and you just have to figure it out as you go. It had nothing to do with you. Sometimes you talk to an NPC, they talk to you about whatever they're going through or life. And I like those kind of games. So that's the game I was kind of thinking of. I finally added punching and blocking. I think that's pretty cool. It's supposed to be a crow, my enemy, but it looks like a bat. It is what it is. I'll fix him. And my trees are terrible. They're just so ugly. But again, I did my best. But and I also made another NPC, a little sprite there, a girl, but she doesn't do anything yet in the town. And if you see, my health actually goes up. I don't know why, but it doesn't work properly. When I change screens, it actually brings my health up like it's supposed to. It updates like it's supposed to, but I can push enter and change my level. Defeating monsters also changes my level, but I have to go out of a screen and enter a screen, so I'm gonna have to figure out the code there. But yeah, if you see on the right, I have like health, hygiene, morale. Well, it's morality, but I couldn't put it, so I put moral, and then strength, endurance, stamina. I made trash cans, and this is where this idea came from. I have these trash cans, and I thought, I don't want people you have no money, so I don't want people to have so much money. They just keep recycling, selling these plastics and selling aluminum so I was thinking you have to start smelling. You're digging in a trash can. If it goes down to 0, you smell and you lose all your hygiene, it leads to you being depressed, right? Because you're sad that you smell and you can see flies, and maybe I'll have a smell animation, and then goes into your morality, right? You feel like you don't fit in the world, and now you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You stink and you smell and you're not showering. So then it abuses your mind, right? It leads to depression. Then that affects your strength. Because I hate it whenever you go into a game, you get poisoned, just depletes your health. I think that's so boring. So, I thought of other ways around this. That's what I was trying to think of. I don't want it to just attack your health right away. I want you to see it. He's depressed. So when morale goes all the way to 0, now you have loss of appetite. So it affects your strength. Now you have a weakness and it's going down. Boop, boop, boop. And if that hits 0, then you hit the point where it's affecting your endurance, right? You're starting to sweat. And that causes dehydration. And if you go too long, and the GAT hits 0, then it affects your health. But again, it's just a way to make sure you don't just dumpster dive and then try to make a lot of money or talk to people, steal so much from people and just okay, well, I don't want people just stealing from people's pockets and infinitely stealing. I want a balance there. So I'm trying to figure out how to balance things with that bottom right system. And obviously, to get strength, if you deplete strength just a little bit, maybe you have 5 strength and you deplete it down to 3 or 2 and you're like, hey, I need to bring my strength up. Then yeah, you got to eat. Or your endurance is down and you've got to drink some water to bring it back up. But I don't want to force people to eat and drink. I don't want to force people to you have to sleep. Oh, you have to do this. You have to do that. It's not a survival game. That's not what I'm trying to make. But I just want those elements in there so that it slows you down. I know it sounds weird, but if anything, you get so much crap I'm going to get all these potions and I'm going to get all this meat and I'm going to go into the dungeon. I'm going to be okay. If anything, you should have a max about how much you eat and how much you drink. I don't think it's realistic that you can eat as much as you want, drink as much as you want, and you're okay in that cave. I don't think that's fair. So if anything, there should be a point where you're starved and yeah, you can eat and then you have an empty stomach still and you can eat and now you're satisfied. But then if you eat again, maybe you get full. And if you eat again, you become sick or something. You can't overeat. So then you're forced to figure something else out. I believe in the magic, warrior, thief idea, and I'm that kind of character. Which kind of character do I want to be? And that goes back to, are you going to start stealing from people? Is this how you're making your money? And that'll make you a stealthy character. I'll probably make a skill set or something. You want to be a fighter. You want to go out there and you can scavenge for stuff. Okay, great. Or do you want to be a cleric, right? Do you want to talk to people and maybe people can, sell you something or trade you something, or maybe you could be a talker or something and you could be a cleric where you you do have these maybe magical abilities. But I just want something in there that's different. And I want you to choose which way you want to play. But yeah, if you have any ideas or thoughts or anything that can help me with my pixel art, and like I said, if you leave a comment, I'm going to see what you're doing. I believe anybody can teach you something. But thank you for watching my devlog. Thank you for keeping up with me. Have a good day. I'll be back next month.